Welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into a pretty wild irony. How did a century-old bulldozer manufacturer end up becoming an absolute, undeniable powerhouse in the artificial intelligence revolution? Usually when we talk about AI, we think Silicon Valley, sleek software and microchips. But right now, we're looking at the heavy metal foundation of the future. Let's just jump right in.
There's this massive disconnect, right, between how we perceive AI and what it literally takes to make it run. We kind of like to imagine artificial intelligence as this weightless, invisible magic just floating seamlessly in the cloud. But the physical reality, it's profoundly different. The AI revolution requires brute force. We're talking massive infrastructure, relentless heavy machinery, moving actual mountains of dirt, and enormous industrial power generators just to keep everything online. You literally can't build the digital future without moving some physical Earth first.
Let's start with Section 1, the unexpected AI giant.
Moving right along to Section 2, crushing the quarterly numbers.
To really wrap our heads around the scale of this shift, all we have to do is look at Caterpillar's historic, record-breaking financial results for the second quarter of 2026. $20.5 billion. For the very first time in this company's entire 100-year history, quarterly sales didn't just beat expectations, they absolutely shattered them. Crossing that elusive $20 billion threshold in a single quarter, that's something you usually only expect from Silicon Valley darlings, not heavy machinery makers.
Just take a look at the massive gap between expectations and reality here. What Wall Street experts projected was around $19 billion. But the reality? A 24% jump from the exact same period last year. So how did the experts get it so wrong? Well, they fundamentally underestimated the sheer physical industrial demand of the AI boom. They modeled the traditional construction cycle and completely missed the technological wave. And hey, it wasn't just top-line revenue that spiked. $8.17, that represents their adjusted profit per share. That is a staggering 73% year-over-year surge. They nearly doubled their earnings, making an absolute mockery of the $6.20 estimate analysts had penciled in. Honestly, these are hypergrowth tech numbers wrapped up in yellow iron. It's almost ironic, isn't it? Seeing a legacy industrial titan putting up margins that rival the fastest-growing software companies in the world.
But listen, if you really want to see where the future is heading, this next figure is just mind-bending. A $72 billion order backlog that rocketed 92% from last year. And why does this matter to us? Because 59% of that massive backlog is scheduled for delivery in just the next 12 months. What that tells us is the AI physical build-out isn't some far-off future projection. It's happening all around us right this second. The sheer volume of guaranteed demand coming down the pipeline right now is simply staggering.
And as CEO Joe Creed made crystal clear, crossing that $20 billion mark isn't just a good quarter. It's a historic pivot point. He emphasized that this milestone really underscores the essential, foundational work their customers are doing globally to build out this new era. This isn't just a fleeting spike, guys. The people pouring the concrete and wiring the grid for the AI revolution, they are relying heavily on Caterpillar to actually make it happen.
Which brings us to Section 3, the data center boom.
So what exactly is causing a traditional dirt-moving company to post these explosive tech-like growth numbers? It's the massive, nationwide construction of AI data centers. Think of these as the physical brains of the AI revolution. And let me tell you, they are incredibly resource-intensive. They need excavators and bulldozers to clear vast plots of land, and crucially, they need massive backup generators to ensure they stay online 24/7 without fail. An AI server farm simply cannot go dark, ever.
When we break down the key segments, the catalyst becomes crystal clear. Over in construction, overall revenue jumped 35%, but notice the key driver there. North America surged by 50%, largely thanks to critical infrastructure and data center builds. Meanwhile, power and energy grew 17% overall, driven by a massive 72% spike in power generation sales to end users. And what is that? That is almost entirely large generator sets and turbines for those exact same data centers. The digital cloud, it turns out, requires a seriously immense amount of physical power.
This really brilliantly illustrates just how central this shift has become. Together, construction and power now make up a dominant 81% of Caterpillar's total revenue pie. The AI boom is very much an industrial story, and Caterpillar is clearly capturing the lion's share of the physical build-out. They're not just selling equipment anymore. They're selling the critical uptime and infrastructure necessary to keep our modern digital economy functioning. Let's look at the flip side in Section 4, Navigating the Supply Challenge.
Now, as you can imagine, Wall Street absolutely loved this narrative. They sent Caterpillar's stock surging 12% for its best day in over 17 years. But this explosive demand has created a really unique constraint. Caterpillar is currently facing the best possible problem a business can have. They are entirely supply constrained. The demand is absolutely there, but they just can't build the machines fast enough. In fact, some orders for gas engines and turbines are now booked out as far as 2030. Think about that for a second. Customers are essentially buying a spot in line today for equipment they won't even plug in for another 4 years. That is pretty much unprecedented for this type of hardware.
To fight this massive bottleneck, Caterpillar is pulling off this incredible mini comeback story. Back in 2022, they had actually halted production of their 10-megawatt gas engine platform, completely shut it down. But now, they've initiated an emergency restart of that exact platform just to meet this surging data center demand. With first shipments expected in late 2026, this move alone will bring 1.5 gigawatts of new capacity online. And CEO Joe Creed made sure to emphasize that this new capacity is purely additive. Customer demand hasn't slowed down one bit. It is literally a sprint to power the future.
Finally, let's wrap up with Section 5, Global Expansion and the Road Ahead.
Beyond all the AI hype, Caterpillar is still aggressively securing his traditional core businesses. They recently locked in a major agreement with the largest tugboat operator in the Americas, securing maintenance for over 200 Cat engines in their fleet. On the ground, they are rolling out next-generation medium wheel loaders designed specifically for lower maintenance costs and higher performance. And crucially, knowing they need the actual human hands to build all of this, they've just invested $5 million in advanced manufacturing workforce development across Texas and Illinois to prep the next generation of technicians.
Riding all of this incredible momentum, from the historic backlog to the sheer AI power surge, Caterpillar has confidently upgraded its outlook. They raised their full-year 2026 sales growth forecast from the low double digits all the way up to the mid to high teens. And to top it all off, they successfully negotiated their expected full-year tariff costs down to around $2.2 billion, padding their profit margins even further. Really, it's a masterclass in capitalizing on a sudden market shift while maintaining incredibly tight operational control.
So, we've seen how this 100-year-old giant has completely reinvented itself for the AI era. It proves, without a doubt, that the digital revolution relies entirely on physical steel, moving earth, and massive industrial power generation. So I want to leave you with this final thought. The next time you sit down at your computer or your phone and generate a response from an AI, remember the massive, physical yellow machines powering it behind the scenes, and ask yourself, as AI continues to scale, who are the other hidden industrial architects quietly building our digital tomorrow? Thanks for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll see you next time.